Hi, and welcome back to Musicians Edition Practice with me for alto saxophone. I'm your teacher, Risa, and today we're working in the Standard of Excellence Book 3, and today we're on page 21. We do have a couple new things we're going to be working on, such as the grace note, and we're going to be looking at a new tempo. So we'll talk about these things as we get to them. All right, that way we don't have to retain it when we're not putting it in practice. So let's go ahead and take a look at our exercise 79, theme from Piano Sonata number 2 from Mr. Mozart. Okay, so first let's take a look at what we have in our key signature. What do we have? We have two sharps, F sharp and C sharp, so nothing overly complicated. Next, let's take a look at our time signature. What do we have? We're in 6/8 time. Okay, but do take note of our tempo. Take a look at the top here. This is the new tempo we're learning. Larghetto. Okay, now, once again, I'm not Italian and I know I'm really bad with some of these pronunciations. So, if I have it wrong, I apologize. But anyway, this is not as slow as largo. So it's still on the slower side, but not quite as slow. All right, so let's still continuing to look into our piece, just take a look and see if there's anything that might catch you off guard. Okay, we'll start with the top part. All right, we see we don't have any accidentals, so that shouldn't throw us off. The rhythms are kind of consistent with each other. There's nothing that gets all of a sudden crazy, so I think we got this. Let's go ahead and give it a sight read. All right, ready? I'm just gonna count us in 2 this time. Okay, because a lot of times when your conductor is conducting in 6/8, they conduct in 2, all right? So this is the point where if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have to now fill those gaps in for yourself, but you should be at the point where you're starting to get comfortable with things being counted in 2, and you're just kind of comprehending where things are, all right? You don't need to rush your process, so if you're still counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's fine. And if you still need to write your counts in, that's also fine too. All right, let's go ahead. Top part. 1, 2. All right, excellent job. A symbol we haven't seen in a while. So we're gonna do a reminder here. The notes you see that have a line right above it, what is that? And what does it mean? It's the tenuto, and it means to hold it out for its entire full amount of value. So you don't wanna be cutting it short, not staccatoing, the full length. All right, let's take note of our dynamics. What do we have going on in this piece? We're playing a lot softer, aren't we? We're gonna start in piano, okay? And then later we're gonna crescendo up to mezzo piano, still kind of soft, okay? Then we're gonna start right into mezzo forte, so kind of loud. And then we're gonna get even louder. And then we're gonna come all the way back down to mezzo piano, kind of soft. All right, and we do also have a new style written in here, dolce, and that means sweetly. All right, so when we're playing this, we wanna imagine maybe we're playing for a baby, something soft, a bunny, a kitten, whatever. Just we want to play sweetly to it. All right, so now let's try it again, adding those dynamics and being sweet. All right, here we go. 1, 2. All right, excellent job.
This lesson is brought to you by the Musicians Edition Practice Book. Make goals and keep track of progress throughout the whole year. When you're done with this video lesson, don't forget to mark this practice time in your Musicians Edition Practice Book. Now back to the video.
Now we need to play part 2, the bottom half, okay? And most of this is written with just us playing on the, the lower notes, same kind of rhythm, though there are I think there's 2 spots where the rhythm is just a little bit different. And that's measure 1, and then the first measure in line 2. We have a quarter while they have a dotted eighth into 16th. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a shot. Ready? 1, 2. All right, excellent job. So that was a little bit easier when it comes to the rhythms, in my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at number 80, a German dance, okay? This one is allegretto, so it is faster, but not as fast as allegro, okay? Take a look at our key signature. What do we have going on now? We have no sharps, no flats. Tell me about our time signature now. 3, 4, all right? So a little bit more of a waltz this time. And this is by Franz Joseph Haydn. All right, a lot of classical. Oh, as I can see on the top, this is the classical period. All right, so that makes sense. All right, so now in this one, we have what's called the grace note. And that's the little note in there. See, it's in measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Measure 7. You see the little note? It goes C to B. We're going to play that really quick. Sometimes it's like, I mean, if you want to get technical, almost like a 32nd or 16th going into it. So it would be like. It's real short, just like that, okay? And most times, I think almost all times, they're slurred too because they're connected. They're technically one note, and that whole entire duration, so with the grace note and the quarter note, have to equal 1, okay? There's no added time here. So the grace note and the quarter is still 1. Okay? So these can be a little tricky, and sometimes it helps when you play them slower, just kind of dependent. But I think as we move along and we play, it'll make more sense. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a try. Do take note, we do have repeats in this, and we are going to take those repeats. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. So you can see that you get off that grace note pretty quickly. All right, so let's go ahead. I think that one's pretty good. If you need to slow that down, of course, slow it down, speed it up. Actually, let's speed it up. Just kidding, we're gonna speed that up. All right, speeding it up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Alrighty, excellent job there. All right, let's take a look at 81, technique break. Let's take a look at our key signature. We now have 3 sharps, and that G sharp has a tendency to throw a lot of people off. So we might have to mark those in if we keep forgetting. Take a look at our time signature. What is our time signature now? Common time, so keeping it 4/4. All right, let's take a quick skim to see if there's anything that might throw us off guard. No, I think we're good. So let's go ahead and give this a try. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty, excellent job. So that takes a little bit of thinking power. I had already marked my G sharps in, so there you go. But if we missed any of them, this is a good one to do it. This one kind of goes in a certain pattern, kind of works its way up the scale, right? So if we're looking at the first of each 8th note run, sound familiar? Works its way up the scale. Which scale does this work up? What scale would you play? This would be the A scale, right? We're starting on A, and the A scale has the 3 sharps. All right, so let's do this again. This time we're going to add in our articulation, okay? Now do take note, okay? The top half, right? Da, 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 da. Right? But then if you look at the bottom half, right, it looks like da, 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 da. But we have the word simile there, right? Right next to that forte sign. Simile means to play pretty much similar to. So you're going to technically play with the same articulation. All right? It's almost as if, all right, think back in the classical period, okay? So I don't know who wrote this, but we'll think back to Haydn or Mozart's time, okay? We weren't using computers and printers back then, right? Everything was handwritten. So your composer might be a little tired of writing the same kind of thing over and over and over. So it's so much easier for them to just write simile. So much easier, right? He can get his work done faster and not kind of burn out his creativity, right, by doing that. So, anywho, to our story, we're going to do the same articulation from the top line that we are to the bottom. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent job. It takes a little more thinking power when it's not written in. And if you're getting confused by the articulation, sometimes it helps if you just take the saxophone out of the picture and you go back to the basics of time. Ta, 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 ta. You don't have to focus so much on the singing, you know. But it's more about the tas. You could even just ta it without the singing. Ta, 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 ta. Right, just to get the tonguing motion of it. And then if yours, you know, to help with it, then you go to the saxophone and you focus just more of on the notes. You could play or just finger it, and then you combine the two, okay? Okay, you can even take it nice and slow like that and then speed it up. All right, we're gonna take a look at one more thing with this one. Play it again, and then we're gonna move on. Dynamics this time, okay? We do have some dynamic motion. We're gonna start nice and mezzo piano, okay? Then we're gonna just be mezzo forte. Then we're gonna be just coming at forte. And then back down to mezzo forte, and then work around as quietly as we possibly can play pianissimo. Quieter than softer. Like you're in a library. All right, let's go ahead and play this now with still articulations and now dynamics. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. I went a little too soft there. That might be an area we need to practice a little bit, right? Yeah, going down to as softly as you can. And a good exercise even just for that is just picking a note, we'll say A, and then just decrescendoing it as much as you can. There we go, a little bit. I have a broken reed and that doesn't help. If you have a broken reed, that's not gonna help you either. Okay, moving on to our last exercise of the day, 82, go for excellence. And we're looking at Beethoven now, okay? Looking at Sonata. All right, this is a slower pace, but not as slow as Largo. This is our new tempo, okay? You can see we also have some grace notes marked in here, okay? And he has some things written out here, like the dolce, right? So this is going to be a sweetly piece, okay? And he also wrote out the crescendos and decrescendos instead of using, you know, our symbols. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's take a look at our key signature real quick. What do we have? Only down to 2 sharps again, so comfortable F sharp, C sharp. We're still in 4/4, so that's nice and comfortable too. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent job. Hopefully that piece sounded a little familiar to you, and hopefully you felt the sweetness to this one, right? So this is also one you could be playing to a baby or a kitten. Okay, now we're going to add in our dynamics, okay? So we're gonna start off nice and quiet, right? Maybe we're getting sleepy, or maybe we're waking up from a nap. All right, we're gonna play most of this piece like this. And then we're gonna crescendo up there towards mezzo forte, so kind of loud. And then we're gonna decrescendo back to soft. All right, so this time let's throw in our dynamics. All right, here we go, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, excellent job. All right, now I know some of you might be thinking, oh, well, what about the other exercises on page 45? Well, a lot of you have expressed you kind of like doing the accelerators all in one sitting versus doing it with these. So we're gonna switch that up. We're gonna do all the accelerators at once. When we come to the end of the book, we'll play all of the accelerators, all right? So for now, just practice those grace notes, practice those slower tempos, and practice those dynamics, alrighty? All right, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, notify, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our practices. Thanks for joining, and until next time.